Eli was a farmer. He loved his land. He loved his family. But Eli worried a lot. He worried about the rain. He worried about the sun. He worried if his crops would grow. Eli worked hard. He planted seeds. He watered his fields. But still, he worried. What if there's not enough rain, he'd ask. What if the sun is too hot? His wife, Sarah, would smile and hug him. God will provide, she'd say. But Eli found it hard to shake off his worries. Eli wanted to trust. He just didn't know how. One year, the season started like any other. The sky was blue. Birds sang in the trees. Eli planted his seeds, hoping for a good harvest. But as weeks passed, the rain stopped. The sun blazed fiercely. The land grew dry and cracked. The crops began to wither. Eli's worry grew with each passing day. He looked at the sky, desperate for rain clouds, but the sky remained cruelly clear. The villagers started talking about a drought. Fear filled Eli's heart. What would happen to his family if his crops failed? One evening, Eli sat on his porch, his head in his hands. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. The weight of his worry felt heavy on his chest. His old friend Martha saw him from afar. Martha was known for her wisdom and her strong faith. She walked over to Eli and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Eli," she said gently, "you can't control the weather, but you can control your reaction to it." Eli looked up at her, his eyes filled with despair. "How can I not worry, Martha?" he asked. "My family depends on this harvest." Martha smiled kindly. "The Bible tells us not to worry," she said. Philippians 4:6 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." Eli had heard this verse before, but he never knew how to apply it to his life. He sighed. "It's easy to say, 'Don't worry, Martha,' but how can I just stop when everything I have is at stake?" "Faith isn't about ignoring your problems, Eli," Martha explained patiently. "It's about trusting God with them." Section 5. A seed of trust. Martha's words planted a seed of hope in Eli's heart. He knew Martha was right. Worrying wouldn't change anything. It would only steal his peace and joy. He decided to try Martha's advice. That night, instead of pacing anxiously, Eli knelt beside his bed and prayed. He didn't just ask for rain. He asked for God's peace to fill his heart, no matter what the outcome may be. The next morning, Eli woke up feeling different. The fear was still there, but it was quieter, less overwhelming. He went out to his fields, and instead of despairing over the dry land, he thanked God for the sunshine. He thanked God for the birds singing. He thanked God for his family and his health. He continued to pray throughout the day, not just for rain, but for strength and guidance. He found himself smiling more, even laughing with his children. Days turned into weeks. The drought continued, but so did Eli's prayers and gratitude. He worked hard in his fields, doing everything he could to save his crops. But more importantly, he focused on nurturing his faith. He realized that true peace didn't come from favorable circumstances, but from trusting in a loving God. The worry didn't vanish overnight, but Eli found that each time he surrendered his anxieties to God, he was met with a wave of peace that calmed his heart. Eli's transformation didn't go unnoticed. The villagers saw the change in his demeanor. They heard his prayers of gratitude amidst the drought. Soon, others started joining Eli in prayer. They too began to find solace in trusting God, even when circumstances seemed bleak. The drought eventually broke. When the first drops of rain fell, the entire village erupted in joyous celebration. But for Eli, the true miracle wasn't the rain. It was the newfound peace he discovered in his heart. Eli's story reminds us that we don't have to face our anxieties alone. When we surrender our worries to God, through prayer and gratitude, we open our hearts to His peace. This peace doesn't depend on our circumstances changing. It comes from knowing that God is in control, that He loves us, and that He will never leave us nor forsake us. Like Eli, we can find peace not by escaping our storms, but by weathering them with a heart full of faith and gratitude.